Check. 1 2 1 2. We're not. Yeah. I got levels. Still have levels. All right. Hopefully that fixes. We'll find out. Yeah. I'm sure once they start talking though, it'll all go to hell.
Hopefully not.
You're good. All right. Mind if I throw a mic down in here?
Okay, thank you. Should be able to. Okay.
Hey, you got me on 8.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't remember your name. I'm sorry.
Barrett.
Barrett.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
Barrett. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right here. Am I
Yeah.
Neil? Is this better?
Am I
in your way?
No, just stand up.
Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
All right. You good?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so Chief, can you tell us what happened here?
About 4:40 this morning, Minneapolis police officers received a shot spotter notification indicating that 4 rounds of gunfire were fired on the block behind me, halfway down the block. Police officers responded, and in the alleyway behind me, just past the blue garage with the white door, they found one male suffering from a gunshot wound to the head inside a homeless encampment there, and another individual, a male, shot at least one time in the neck with life-threatening injury. Minneapolis police officers provided medical care till EMS arrived. The male shot in the neck was transported to the hospital, Hennepin County Medical Center, where he has serious but not life-threatening injuries. The second male shot in the head inside the encampment was pronounced deceased at the scene. The investigation remains in its preliminary stages. We do not have a motive at this time, but we do have significant information on a potential suspect who may be our shooter. So there was one gun recovered from the scene. We do not believe that gun was fired at this time. So we believe there's actually a third individual who came with at least one gun firing those 4 rounds. It's very frustrating to be here just a couple hours after I left a community meeting at the American Indian Center on Franklin Avenue. We were talking about police reform and what the department is doing to achieve compliance, but it's very clear that the residents from the neighborhood around here, and not just here, different areas in the neighborhood are just really fed up with the problems associated with encampments. I heard that loud and clear last night. I also heard from residents that they're tired of outsiders coming in and enabling this the activity that goes on here. From residents we heard from saying people from the outside come in, they provide goods and other things that essentially enable people to engage in the drug activity that goes on here, and quite frankly then associated gun violence. This is probably the 3rd shooting we've had associated with this particular encampment. It is now a crime scene. We're holding this as a crime scene, and we're working with our city partners to try and get this removed once the scene is clear. But it's a sad situation. There's a 20-year-old male that's dead this morning, another male in his 30s injured by gunfire, and a whole community as kids are getting up, walking to the bus stop, that not only do they have to deal with walking past this every day, seeing needles and everything else that goes on here, but now they're walking past crime scene tape. It's a serious issue, and we're just, we're looking forward to working with everyone who possibly can to do their part, to help us try and prevent things like this in the future. There's been way too much crime and violence this year, and way too much associated with homeless encampments.
You mentioned, you have citizens in this area, in this neighborhood, who are frustrated. What's your response to that frustration?
My response is they shouldn't have to deal with this. It's unacceptable. This is a complicated problem. You have people in these encampments who do not want services, who are suffering from very severe addictions to fentanyl. Fentanyl is terrible. It's very small amounts, very highly addictive, very, very cheap. It's absolutely horrible. There's violence that's associated with the trafficking of fentanyl, and a lot of the folks that are in these situations that are unhoused are dealing with those addictions, as well as mental health and all kinds of other challenges. There are people out here and organizations out here that are trying to provide help to these folks, but not everybody's willing to accept it, and that's a real challenge. And it is the job of the police to do the law enforcement part of this. So when we do have information around violence or on people dealing drugs, we take action. We have made arrests recently in this area for our narcotics trafficking associated with an encampment. But this is not a problem that we're going to arrest our way out of. And it's frustrating to the police, just like it's frustrating to the residents, that an encampment gets cleared one day here and it pops up the next day somewhere else. It's frustrating for everyone involved.
You touched on this a little bit, but literally coming off just hours from
Yes.
a community meeting where you're highlighting progress, talking about partnership, that's got to be frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating. It's disappointing. We are going to do our part. The police are out here. We are doing our part day and night. But this is not a problem that the police can solve alone. But it's too much. It's too much for the people who live here. They don't feel that people care about their problem. They don't feel that, frankly, that all of government is responding to it. And that's disheartening. Like, we have a lot of work to do trying to rebuild trust with the community and get while we're trying to reduce crime. And it's just it's not helpful to that situation, especially when something like this is preventable. This is preventable. If we were able to deal with the encampment and solve that problem of people being at an encampment where there's clearly drug use, there's clearly violence associated with it. This is not the only murder that, in my view, is preventable. Because if we were able to actually do something as a solution, around the encampment.
You mentioned outside actors. Are they bringing?
This is what folks say at the community meeting last night. And it's clear, I think, from the officers that are here, there's like a brand new cedar fence that was put up like within the last week or two, since the officers had responded to an overdose and a shooting that was here. And it makes it more difficult for police to access an ambulance to access the encampment, like in the event of someone having an overdose. But it's clearly, an expense, and something that was done from someone outside, people who are sleeping outside.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one's- I just. Hey. It's like a kid. Dad's got a phone. There's a 4-year-old kid sitting in the front seat of the car.
Yeah, on the way to school. I think it'll update this morning at 9. I think it's 51. But
Okay.
It's at least
check.
it's at least 7 more than last year. I think.
What you're thinking when you see a 4-year-old or a kid going to
It's
school
horrible,
and driving
man.
through an alley having
It's
a wait.
horrible. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what the neighbors were talking about last night. Is their children have to walk past this every day. They see needles on the street. They see people, using drugs right in front of them. They're scared. The residents are scared for their kids just trying to make it from, the house to the bus stop. That's not something people should have to deal with, let alone have, your 4-year-old kid come out of the house this morning and have to see this. It's too much.
I mean, you mentioned you can't arrest your way out of this. This isn't a problem solely police can solve. Are you looking for particular organizations to step up and do something different? What are you hoping happens?
There's a lot of various community-based organizations that are out there. Some have funding, some don't. There's a lot of people that are trying to do their part. Problem is, the police, we have our own role to provide, and we're simply not equipped, not staffed, not resourced to kind of be the conduit for that. So, I mean, I do think there needs to be more support for the community organizations that are out there and kind of better coordination with that. And I think that's a conversation that people have been having in the city for the last few years. But there's a lot of people trying to, and individual residents too, trying to do what they can to clean things up around here.
Is there anything you can do to change the mindset of those in the encampment to accept the help that you're trying to provide?
You might turn
It's such a, I'm sorry. It's such a deep problem. I mean, the addiction to fentanyl is so serious. It's so overpowering for people. And then a lot of folks, are suffering from not just one issue, multiple issues, mental health issues, all kinds of problems. People, honestly, you look at them, you see them coming by, you can tell just by looking at them, they're suffering through a lot. And there's various reasons why. Sometimes there's folks who just simply don't want to go into a shelter because they have various rules, and the rules would then prevent them from continuing, the addiction that they're struggling with. Others who have homes and just don't want to go back, or whatever, there's family issues. Again, a lot of times associated with the addiction. But I mean, at some point we have to recognize that if we're just, providing support and resources and things to people in encampments and encouraging them to stay in this, we are encouraging their own demise, whether it's going to be from violence or way more frequently from overdoses. It's just terrible.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Tim. Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
good to see you again, Barrett.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to clarify,
Thanks, Chief. Thank you.
two separate people shot.
Yes.
One died. There was an unrelated gun found there? Okay. So that wasn't the gun that was involved in the shooting.
We don't think it was
And you're
fired.
still looking for the weapon that was used.